ANC, America's Black News Channel. Watch us on all major cable providers and major streaming platforms. Finally, news that speaks to us.
Welcome back to Black News Tonight. My first guest of the evening says there are two popular models that deal with racial relations and tension. He says, however, neither one does provide a true long-term solution. And now, he has a brand new book out that provides an alternative to these two options. In Beyond Racial Division, a unifying alternative to colorblindness and anti-racism, sociologist George Yancey argues colorblindness on one hand ignores our history of injustice, but on the other hand, anti-racism efforts often alienate people who need to be involved in the process. So he proposes mutual contribution and accountability as an alternative approach to racial relations. He offers a vision for moving beyond racial alienation toward a lifestyle and movement of collaborative conversation and mutuality. And he joins me now. His name again is Dr. George Yancey. He's a professor of sociology at Baylor University and the author of Beyond Racial Division. The book just came out 2 days ago. My brother, thank you so much for being on the show. Talk to me about this book. You begin the book by saying we need a new path. You talk about race relations as troublesome, and one of the points that you raise is this idea of racial alienation. What is racial alienation?
Yeah, so when I teach about race in my class, I'll talk about racial alienation, the fact that the different races have been here for so long, and yet we still have this high mistrust, and we still have this these tensions. If you want to look at an alternative, look at, say, what we today call white, or even call African American, how different groups came in and eventually were able to merge together and get along with one another. Yet that's not happened, even though we've been here just as long together. And why is that? And to me, that's what I see as racial alienation. Why have we not been able to overcome some of these barriers that bedevil us?
So obviously there's been a whole hullabaloo in the popular conversation, in the political discourse about critical race theory. And one of the arguments of critical race theory, as others have made, is that racism is an intractable problem in America, that racism ain't going nowhere, it's fundamental, it's baked into the cake of America. Do you believe that that's true, and is that the answer to the question you just posed, which is why we end up alienated?
I don't think I'm quite that fatalistic in that I think that it's baked in and there's ultimately it's going to remain there. I think that over time, we can do something with it. Now, I think if we look for a quick fix, then that's problematic. But I don't buy into the idea that it's so baked in that it's going to have to be with us forever. I guess I can't be that pessimistic about it.
What makes you not pessimistic? I won't call you optimistic, right? But let's just say you are hopeful, right? As Du Bois said, not hopeless, but unhopeful, right? Like, let's say you just feel like it's not impossible for this thing to change called America. What makes you feel that way, given all the history, all the realities that we face even today?
I guess a couple of things, and one I admit is not rational. I admit that I don't want to feel that fatalistic. I don't want to feel that no matter what we do, we're still going to have this with us. So I realize that's not rational. But I think the other thing is that you can look at other societies that have had divisions and that they have figured out how to overcome those divisions in time. So I think that we can learn from other societies, learn from research on how these divisions can be overcome. So I do think that part of my belief is based
where have we seen that?
In reason.
Professor, where have we seen that type of overcoming of racial division?
Look at African Americans. I mean, if you go back to Africa, look at how much conflict there was between different tribes. Look at European Americans. Look what happened with all the conflict between the English and the French and all that. It took time, but eventually they were able to overcome their divisions. So it can happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen easily, but it can happen. And I guess part of me has to believe that, and part of me sees that it has happened in certain circumstances.
You have me fascinated now. There's a cycle of dysfunctional racial relationships you've talked about. You say that in this country there is a cycle of dysfunctional racial. What is a dysfunctional racial relationship, and what's the cycle that we're in?
Okay, so right now we know that there's not a pressing racial issue because of the whole Ukraine situation, and so there's no real pressing issue. We're in what I call equilibrium. We know that we're going to have a racial incident come up probably within the next few months, and then we're going to have anger and protests, and then we're going to get the counter protests, and then we're going to get all of this animosity until it dies down, until we get equilibrium again. Then we get another incident, another protest, counter protest, equilibrium, and this just goes on and on and on. And we can just pick out the different, Trayvon Martin and George Floyd, and it just goes on and on until we find some way of stopping the cycle.
Wow. One of the ways that liberals say we should, and conservatives at this point say that we should get out of the cycle, is colorblindness. That if we just don't see color, if we commit to not seeing color. I have George Yancey on my show. He's a guest. He's a professor at Baylor. He has a PhD. He's brilliant. I don't see that he's black. If that could be my approach, then we'd all be fine. That's what some people argue. What do you say to that?
Yeah, that doesn't work. Look, what I tell people is, if we truly had an equitable society, then yeah, colorblindness makes sense. But there's reams of literature showing that our society is not equitable. So that doesn't work. It's like a wound. If you don't do anything to the wound, it just gets worse. So we can't ignore the wound. We have to try to treat the wound. So yes, colorblindness is not the way we're going to be able to do this.
Okay, so what about anti-racism? Because that's all the rage these days.
Yes. So, I mean, when I get into anti-racism, people can debate how it's defined. But we know that some of these things have been done for a long time. And we know there's been a lot of research on how effective, say, diversity training and these sort of approaches have been. And the research shows that it's really not been very effective. And when it is effective, it's because of perspective taking. But perspective taking has to go both ways for it to really be effective. So when I look at the research, it tells me that anti-racism is not the approach that we're going to be able to use.
Wow. What do we do then? Make me feel a little more hopeful. Okay. I know that's not your job as an academic.
I'll try to pass on my hope to you, okay?
It's funny. I read a book of yours maybe 10 years ago on atheists in America, and so I know that you are used to navigating these different spaces of belief, hope, aspiration, reality. So when it comes to racism, in a way, I feel like you're taking us down a similar path, right? That there's some of us who are simply not believers in the possibilities of a racial democracy, others who have an abiding faith in the possibilities of a racial democracy. Give me some hope that my faith is well placed.
Okay, so I guess I am in the middle. I have the hope, but I know it's been a lot of hard work. So I'm realistic about that part of it. I think that we have to change the way we think about how we deal with racial issues. We have to try to understand where people are coming from so we can find ways we can live together. We have to get away from thinking about a win-lose to a win-win mentality, active listening. So this is going to take a lot of work. I'm not naive about that, but there is research showing that when people engage with each other, I mean, we want to look at the research on how people learn how to get along with one another, right? Because ultimately that's what it's about. How do we get along with one another? That does not deny that we have to deal with institutional racism and the problems we have, and we have to work for equality. But we want sustainable solutions, and that comes when we bring people into it. I can't tell you how many people I have who've come to me and said, I listened to this person, and they just turned me off. But then when I listened to you got through to me because of the way you talked to me, because you talked to me in a way where I could hear you. And I think that is an important key that we have to work at. Once again, it's going to be a lot of hard work. I hope my kids can benefit from my work, but I'm willing to work at this because this is what I think I'm called to do.
Ibram Kendi has several New York Times best-selling books. He's a celebrated scholar and a public voice on race, racism, and specifically anti-racism. Everybody seems to be, at least in the kind of liberal discourse on race, seems to be leaning in the direction of anti-racism as an article of faith, right? That if we want to be successful, anti-racism is the approach to take, and his work has been instrumental in making us think about it in that way. Based on your research and your book, is that a dangerous path?
I would say it's an ineffective path. I would say that it's a path that probably leads to more polarization rather than building community. And that's how I would phrase it, as far as not just Kendi, but the mentality of anti-racism in general has tended to create more polarization, where I think what we want to do is try to build community. And community doesn't mean you always agree with one another, by the way, but you learn how to work things out.
Absolutely, work things out. By the way, fun fact to my audience out there, George Yancey, there are actually two very famous George Yanceys who are scholars. And when I invited you, initially I was thinking it was I didn't realize until about not too long ago that there's actually two George Yanceys. I thought there was just this one super productive George Yancey that managed to do philosophy and sociology. Turns out there are two of them, and I've read both of your work. And seriously, your work on Christianity, your work on atheism, your work at the intersections of society and religion and sociology of religion has been incredibly impactful to me and to a generation of scholars. And so I want to thank you for your work, but also thank you for stepping your toe into the water of race and American discourse on race. Not the academic kind of conversation that's quarantined where we talk to each other about theory, but trying to have a big picture conversation with the country about this monster called race and racism. That takes a lot of courage, and you've done it with aplomb. So, sir, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your important research, and thank you for spending some time tonight on Black News Tonight. Everybody, the book is called Beyond Racial Division, a unifying alternative to colorblindness and anti-racism. It is available everywhere that books are sold, and of course, a copy of the book is waiting for you at an independently owned Black bookstore.